we facilitate through that hospital. First, before I get into the details of the campaign, I want to introduce you guys to the two Azadamardiks that really touched my heart. This is Ivan. He's a non-Gusaksagan Azadamardik. Let me add that we խտրություն չենք տներ մենք Ազադամարտիկներն որ գտնեն Գուսակցական կամ ոչ Գուսակցական բոլորին որ մեզ գտիմեն հավասարորեն դստուկենք եւ իրենց օգնություն կհասնենք. But this was Ivan. Ivan was 17 years old when he decided against his parents' will to go to Qarabağ and fight. Հետախուզական կորձերով գսպաղվեր, and within a very short period of time he was taken prisoner of war. Ivan was tortured for 2 years and 7 months. When Armen and the other doctor Iran Stuketsin, they had tortured him in various ways. They had filled gasoline into his muscles so that his muscles die. And so Ivan's issue right now is that he suffers from sudden seizures, but it's not epilepsy. He doesn't have epilepsy. They think that it's because of the 2 years and 7 months of torture that he has severe psychological issues. And I'm sure you guys all know that psychotherapy and therapy in general it's kind of shunned upon in Hayastan right now. They're just starting to really embrace that type of medicine. But he was recommended to do a couple years of therapy, intense therapy. He was recommended to go through hypnosis. We were able to purchase medicine for him. The medicine cost $250, and we were able to purchase it for him. And that's going to take care of him at least for a year or two. He was eternally grateful. I got really close to him. He asked me to be the kavod of his children. And I was very humbled and I accepted. If you see the conditions Ivan lives in, it'll break your heart. Him, his 2 children, his wife, all live in one square room. He receives no aid from the government, even though he's tried on numerous occasions. There is videos of him being tortured on television by the Azeris. I mean, there's no doubt that this man was an Azadamardik and he fought. But our government, unfortunately, decides to ignore him. So he's one of the people that we've helped, but he still needs further help. His medical needs are pretty intense. The second person that really touched my heart was Melsida. I don't know how many of you guys have seen Roger Kupelian's production, Dark Forest, but if you guys have seen it, she's the woman in there that was married to a Russian man, and she told her husband right when the war started that yes, I am. She's with her own hands killed a lot of Azeris. She's a Azadamarik, she's a Fedai. I was so proud to be in her presence. If you see these pictures, if you keep going again, she has a lot of shrapnel in her body still from the war. You can keep going through the pictures. I asked her what her most fond. She went there as a kuirpush, that's what they call them, and as a nurse to help people out there. And I told her, what's your most, what memory sticks with you the most during the war? And she told me that, it would be wartime and there would be bullets flying and there would be shrapnel. And I'll be holding these men in my hands and they would look me in the eyes and they say, let me die before I go by the hands of a Turk. And she's like, that would motivate me. I would do everything and anything. And she's not a doctor, but she was a nurse and she would do everything and anything she can. And she literally brought me to tears within our interview. And, we left each other crying. And at the end of the interview, she was thanking me. She's like, thank you so much. And I was embarrassed. I'm like, how are you thanking me? We owe so much to you guys. We owe everything to you guys. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't have Artsakh right now. So this is the situation that our Azadamardik is in. Melsida needs an eye surgery. If she doesn't have her eye surgery within the next year or 2, she's going to go blind. And her eye surgery costs $2,000. And the reason I'm telling you guys the dollar amounts is because this is embarrassing. I was embarrassed after I met with these 15, 20 Azadamardiks. Again, we're not talking about millions and millions of people. We're talking about maybe 1,000 or 2,000 Azadamardiks. And I was so embarrassed, very embarrassed by the Armenian government, because in my head, doing very brief calculations, we're talking about $10 to $20 million that would take care of all of our veterans' needs, all of them, from A to Z, from surgeries to housing. And our government doesn't have the ability or doesn't have the common sense and decency to really help the people that gave blood and their life for our soil. It's embarrassing. And this is only one phase of the project. You know, we're going to help whoever we can, but the second phase of the project is really, really making this an issue. One of our top issues in government, because this is embarrassing. Lastly, I want to talk a little about the issues that these Azadamardiks face. Some of these Azadamardiks don't have the proper paperwork to go in and to get help from the government. But why don't they have the proper paperwork? Because some of them were gamavors. They're called Mardagan Uli. Mardagan Uli Shunin Kanirin Katsin Gamavor Gurvetsan. And those are the real fedais. I mean, those are the people that went with their own will to fight. And those are the people that get rejected time after time. Second thing is, another requirement that the government has is that you have your paperwork signed off by your Haramadar. Well, some of these Haramadars are not alive anymore. They died during battle. Or you can't find them. They're MIA. Or they're so, so far mentally distorted that they can't even sit down with you and have a logical conversation. And thirdly, the thing that Azadamardiks told me that's a real issue is that these guys are men that have fought. They're men of honor. And they go to these facilities that are manned and that are employed by 18, 19, 20-year-old boys and girls who, come up to them, within the first meeting, these people are like, I gave my blood for this soil. I'm not going to go sit down in front of this kid and try to justify myself. The way that the approach the government has taken, even with the little help that they've given, is pathetic and embarrassing. I mean, there's real sensitivities here that need to be acknowledged. These are our veterans. And if anywhere we need to sit down and say, all right, we need to be a little more sensitive and we need to be a little more understanding, this is the field that has to happen. Again, I really appreciate all you coming out today. Like I said, my trip to Armenia this time was very different. It surpassed any trip I've ever taken to Armenia because I sat down with these guys. I spent time with them. I went to their houses. I saw how they live. And I left there saying that I'm not going to come back there unless I come back with help. And they need help. They really need help. And believe me, this campaign has helped people. We've already spent a few $1,000s. This video that you saw that day that cost a couple of $1,000s. We did MRIs. We've done different minor surgeries. A lot of the issues are simple, like they need ear apparatus, hearing aids, wheelchairs. They're very, very simple things, but they changed their lives. They literally changed their lives. That one guy with the eye issue, all he says is that when I walk down the street, I don't think that's too much to ask for. So thank you really for being part of this campaign, for coming out here today, and hopefully we'll raise enough money here today to really, really take this campaign a step further and really make a difference in these Azadamardiks' lives. Thank you.